All right, I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. We apologize for starting a little bit late. We had a really packed agenda. Some of us have been here since about 9:30 this morning. The formal meeting started at 10:30 this morning. So, and we got a lot of really good stuff done today. You all have no idea how much you brighten this room up. I'm somewhat amazed at how quiet it was when we walked in here. Thank you, Reverend Cox, I guess. But we're excited to have you here. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Good afternoon. Good evening. Mr. Brennan.
Present.
Mr. Rickerman. Mr. McDowell. Mr. Duval.
Present.
Mr. Vine. Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Present. And Mr. Rickerman has been with us all day since about 9:30 this morning. He just had to leave for some other personal obligations, so don't want folks thinking he just missed us tonight. And our city manager as well. She is duly represented by our CFO and assistant city manager, who usually runs very efficient meetings. We'll see how he does tonight. We're going to go ahead and start with our invocation. Reverend McDowell, would you bless us with a word?
Creator and merciful God, for all that you've done for us, for the blessings of this day and for this gathering tonight, as we celebrate Boy Scouts ministries throughout the city of ours. For those who have gathered, we ask that you might touch us individually and collectively. Touch us and energize us, expand our city as we listen and be refreshed with conversation.
Yes, Lord.
We ask it and claim it in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right. So it's not unusual for us to have a few Boy Scouts in the audience. This, however, I think it's got to be a high watermark, at least during my tenure as mayor of the city. We're thankful to have Reverend Robert Cox. He's a conference scouting coordinator for United Methodist Church of South Carolina for the conference's scouting ministry, along with Cub Scout Pack 397 from the Asbury Memorial United Methodist Church, Cub Scout Pack 518, Boy Scout Troop 518, and BSA Girl Troop 9518 from Red Bank United Methodist Church, and Boy Scout Troop 37 from Shandon United Methodist Church, and all their families and friends and everyone who loves them. Reverend Cox, you want to have a word before we do the pledge? You guys look good. You look awesome.
All the way to the end. Make several rows. Little ones in the front.
Excuse me.
Little ones down front. Little ones down front, please. There you go. For those of you gathered here, this year celebrates the 100th anniversary of the first Boy Scout Sunday in the United Methodist Church. In 1920, we formally introduced
Is your big brother a Boy Scout?
Boy Scouts of America. And this year, the United Methodist Church is the #1 sponsor of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Campfire, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Tonight we have just 3 of our churches here in the Columbia District. And Asbury is one of our smaller churches and smaller packs. Red Bank, as you can see, is one of our biggest ones. And Shandon is as well. And I want to introduce you to the BSA Girls Troop. This is a new thing in scouting where girls... And I got to tell you, they're loving it. And this troop here from 9518 from Red Bank is the first girl troop in the Conference of South Carolina to win the Bishop's Award of Excellence. So give them a hand. Scouts, will you please turn and face the flag? Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand? Join us us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand. Scouts. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. You may be seated. Scouts, turn and face me. Scout sign. The Scout oath. On my honor.
I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country. To obey the Scout laws. Help other people at all times. Keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
And the Scout law.
Helpful, kindly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent.
2. You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, ladies. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Who you with? What church? Who you a preacher with?
Man.
What you say? Take care.
I will say there are very few experiences that compare to that. You know, when you have to be reminded why you do what you do, not obviously what your jobs are, but why you do what you do. Young people, I think you already know it, or else you wouldn't be scouts. We live in the greatest nation in the history of the world. We do. It has been built and sustained by men and women who commit themselves to serving this country in so many different ways. And you all are signed up for a tradition that obviously goes back over a century now. And it's amazing to be here in your presence right now. You give us, we already feel pretty good about what we do, but it's good to be reminded why you do what you do. Everything we do is because we believe in the city, we believe in the future of the city, we believe in the fact that young people are the reason why we're working every day to make Columbia a better place. Absolutely. Many of them much sooner than we think are doing amazing leadership right now. Let nothing else confuse you. And all the different things that are happening in the world right now. We're not blue. We're not red. We're not D's. We're not R's. We're Americans. And the reason why these 7 folks who usually sit in these chairs are doing what we do is because we love y'all, and we truly believe in the greatness of this country. It's manifested through you all in your service. So thank you so much. It's amazing. I will say I was amazed to hear Mr. Davis back here doing the oath. I did not know he was a Boy Scout. I had no idea. I had no idea. I was a Cub Scout, but I was nowhere near as cute as those guys right there. It's amazing. So thank y'all for blessing us with this opportunity today. And thank you to all the parents and adults who dedicate your time to these young people living up to their God-given potential. We know they can do amazing things, but it takes each and every one of us putting some time into them. Children can't raise themselves. It requires loving, caring adults doing that. So thank y'all for your time, your talents, and your treasures. Madam Clerk, Mr. City Manager.
Our next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Also, item 12 will be held until February 18th.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion with the previous question? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Vine? Aye. Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Next is public input related to items on the agenda. We have none. Our next item is the approval of the minutes.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moving probably second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move the previous question. The clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Vine? Aye. Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Next up, we have our consent agenda, items 10 through 22, And as previously noted, we're holding item 12.
All right, is there a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda minus item 12.
Second. Moving second, any discussion? Seeing none, with the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Vine? Aye. Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye. And as you might also realize, we're not experts in logistics here, else we might have done the proclamation at the beginning of the agenda. I have a proclamation here, a proclamation of Boy Scouts Day in United Methodist Church. Whereas the scouting movement has made the world and our community a better place by saving lives, serving others, building world leaders, growing the next generation of STEM leaders, introducing youth to lifelong careers, developing character and good citizenship, and encouraging conservation and sustainability. And whereas the Methodist movement, founded by John Wesley in England in 1738, was brought to the American colonies and founded as the Methodist Episcopal Church in December of 1784. And whereas the Boy Scout movement was founded in Great Britain in 1908 by a cavalry officer, Lieutenant General Robert S.S., later Lord Baden-Powell, and later brought to the USA by Chicago publisher W.D. Boyce. And whereas on June 15, 1916, President Woodrow Wilson officially signed the Title 36 of Congress, officially chartering the Boy Scouts of America, and the Boy Scouts of America and the Methodist Episcopal Church entered into a formal agreement in 1920 and celebrated the first Scout Sunday on the second Sunday of February 1920. And whereas the current mission statement of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and Law. And whereas in 2020, the United Methodist Church will be the largest sponsor of BSA with over 6,900 units chartered, serving over 320,200 youth with 118,000 adult volunteers in those charters. Now therefore I, Stephen K. Benjamin, Mayor of the City of Columbia, along with my fellow members of Columbia City Council, do hereby proclaim February 9th, 2020 as Boy Scouts Day in the United Methodist Church in the great city of Columbia, and urge my fellow citizens to recognize and participate in its 100th anniversary. All right.
For you, Rev. Have you want to do it?
As you were.
We'll stand back.
They're just so precious.
Move to the center there, Sam. Y'all move down towards the center here.
Sir, they said you were reciting that thing like you were a Cub Scout. It all came back to me. It all came back. Did you hear that last line to keep myself what? And morally what? Morally straight.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, man.
You want to say it to the speaker?
Good to see you again. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am too. It feels good. It feels better first in the morning.
I'm exhausted.
What are we on, 24? Where's the hammer?
So we'll be here all day.
Remind me to talk to you about something else before we leave, okay? What's the secret? See, that doesn't work in my house. You got to show me how to make that happen. Forever. Thank you so much. All right. You'll be well. That was fun. All right. Mr. Assistant City Manager.
Next item up is item 24, first reading of ordinance number 2020-001, granting encroachment to Daniel Kadar
First.
for the use of right-of-way area of the 2000 block of Divine Street for the installation and maintenance of an iron tubing bicycle rack adjacent to 2222.
No move. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 25 is a resolution. Resolution number R 2020-009, release and abandonment of a portion of the City of Columbia's existing 10-foot water main easement along
motion?
Richland County.
So move.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 26, and this is a part of the Commercial Corridor Redevelopment Plan, is resolution number R 2020-015.
Move approval.
Mr. Brennan, a second.
Second.
Sure. Any discussion? Seeing none, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
In other matters, we have item 27. Council is asked to approve the installation of 2 speed bumps on Wheat Street as requested by the Public Works Department.
All right, is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? You moved your hand at the same time. I wasn't sure if you had discussion. Okay. Got watching you stretch around here. Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 28 is the adoption of the city flag.
I would move the adoption of flag 14A as the City of Columbia flag.
I would like to second that.
And Mr. Snellgrove, we're good to go on, I guess this was already contemplated with the Design League and the designer on. All right, moving second, discussion. All right. Get a robust discussion about this earlier today. Excited about getting to this point. I believe we'll make this motion today, and then we'll have a formal resolution at our next meeting. Is that what my understanding?
Correct.
Yes, you can adopt it tonight, and it'll be ratified at the next meeting.
Yeah, and it's important, I think, for the legislative record for it to indicate exactly our focus around spirit of inclusion, what the Three Rivers mean, what the wings of under the wings of Columbia means, our representation of this as the capital city with the star and the six-pointed star representing the resilience of this great city in 1865. I'm stoked about this, y'all. And I got to say, and I'll recognize you, Mr. Duval, Design League, Lee, just all of you, just thank you for your leadership on this. And I think it's been about as inclusive a process as you could ever have, that also took into account a good amount of approval and dissent, and just all in the proper spirit that we've been trying to achieve here. So thank you for your leadership. Mr. Duval.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to suggest that when we get the new flag, that we have a flag replacement ceremony. They do this in the military, where a battle flag is taken down and a new battle flag is put in place. So let's have some sort of short ceremony at maybe a council meeting where we remove the corn stalks and put in the newly vetted flag.
We move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye. Thank you. All right.
Next up,
Ms. Jenkins?
Yes.
All right, so we have Boza, DDRC, and the Planning Commission tonight.
Yes. Yes.
Any particular order we need to take them in?
We can start with Board of Zoning Appeals. That's first in your book.
Okay.
Tonight we have either the reappointment of Jean Dinkins, or we can appoint a new appointee. And there's one applicant. Her name is Catherine Finner. If you look in your section, you'll see it's separated by reappointment versus new appointment.
So Gene is eligible for reappointment?
He is. It would be his final term.
Okay.
And if you do reappointment, something to note is that there are 3 additional positions that will come
up
open in
as well.
September
Okay.
that you can appoint new appointees to, and you'll notice that on your board members list.
All right.
Comment?
Yes.
Mr. Brennan.
Mr. Mayor, I totally agree with the staff recommendation, but please, if you could keep on file the current applicant for the next 3 openings coming in, please.
Yeah, we actually did have it on file. It's just been a minute, and we found it, and then Rachel also sent it as well. So we keep an electronic file, and we also update our paper files.
At some point, we need to set a trigger date to ask for additional applicants, since we'll have two more slots that the incumbents will be ineligible for reappointment, or will they be eligible for reappointment as well?
So I went over this with Andrea. There are 3 vacancies. It says 2 are at term, and 1 is requesting reappointment.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Basically,
All right, so we have
positions in September.
that'll be available. Okay, fantastic. All
I
right.
would move the reappointment of Gene Dinkins Jr. to the Board of Zoning Appeals for his final term.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
next up, we have the Design Development Review Commission. You're asked to reappoint 2 members if you'd like to. And we also have to fill a community representative for District 2. Their staff recommendations. One thing to point out about the reappointments is that particularly Angie Fuller-Wilt fulfills the architectural historian requirement, and that's pretty hard to find, so staff recommends reappointing her for sure. And then the second board member is also ongoing.
So again, how many slots?
So reappoint those 2, and then you're still looking for...
And then you've got the Chloe Jaco as a
Chloe
District
Jaco.
2.
Okay, give me one second. All right, so we have how many slots?
You have 2 reappointments if
Okay.
you'd like to reappoint, and then you have 1 additional that's a community representative for District 2, and that's in your packet. Chloe Jaco seems to be the best fit.
That's based off her.
District 2.
Well, she represents District 2, but then also, while we currently have a planner, we have, after looking at state laws, we have an architect filling a planner seat. We don't have to unseat the architect, but it would be great to have a planner to fulfill the state requirement.
Can we hold on DDRC appointments till next meeting?
We can have an architect as a planner.
When I talked with Andrea, she
Yeah,
was saying...
we've done that dance a couple of times, I think, with DDRC.
Yeah.
Can y'all, is there any hesitancy to defer until the next meeting? Sure about that?
Ask me about deferring.
Yeah.
No, let's move on.
All right, you sure?
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Brooktown. All right. So we got two, what are we gonna do about that savory guy? I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry.
The chair.
You still here? I'm sorry.
Hold on a second.
All right, so we got two reappointments in Fuller Wilt, and
So you could also choose to obviously reappoint one or both, and there's additional applicants for the second reappointment slot, but the architectural historian is primarily
Yeah,
best to keep in.
and I
Ms.
think
Wilt.
Angie's been good on that board.
Yes.
I would want to reappoint her.
And then Chloe would fulfill the state law requirement as well as filling the representative for District 2.
You're appointing Angie Fuller Wiltie and Chloe Jaco.
No, Chloe Jaco is not.
Chloe Jaco for District 2.
Chloe would be a first person, with the reappointment of Angie Wilt and Bob Broom.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Reappointed. So move.
Okay.
So you're moving the two reappointments and
Two
the
reappointments
and the
and-
appointment of Chloe Jacob.
Joey Jaco.
Got it.
Chloe.
Chloe. Joey Jaco. No, Joey, I'm not.
Don't put him
Any
on
relation?
anything.
Second.
any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. The clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye, I'm sorry.
So,
Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
so next up is the Planning Commission. You have the option of reappointing two appointees, and you also can appoint one new appointee. And we have several new appointees outside of the recommendations. We received additional, and you'll see those three
You'll see. I think he wants to
listed.
Move up. Move over. All right.
Planning?
I move the appointment of Harris Cone.
Second.
Question,
Please.
Mr. Mayor. I agree with staff and your decision. If you could please keep the two others on file for the next round of vacancies, please.
All right, so we got reappointment of Jamie Frost and Joel Tupper, and the appointment of Harris Cone. That's a motion. Is there a second?
So move.
Any discussion? Saying move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. So we do wind up with another vacancy on DDRC now, as a result of that.
I'm sorry. say-
Harris Cone.
Because
he'll move
his-
over.
Yes, his term ends, well, his term actually ends on February, 2020,
Yeah. So we will have to fill the DDRC slot. Not right now,
Yes.
but we'll have to advertise for a real estate broker developer
Yes, sir.
on DDRC.
And that's
Okay.
what he was filling, the real estate role? Okay.
Yeah, so that's nothing.
So after.
Yes.
So let's take that up next time, huh?
He's taking over for his dad, and all his wonderful work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ashley. All right, any items other than the flag? We already addressed that. Anything else from work session needs to be considered by council? Are there any reports or referrals to committee?
None.
All right, do we have anyone? I don't think we have anyone. All right, no one signed up to speak. All right, is there a non-debatable motion to
Move we
adjourn?
adjourn.
All right, is there a second? Any discussion? With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell. Yes. Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Vine. Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Thank y'all so much.